Plants by Kelly Kong. What are the parts of a vascular plant? Roots. Roots anchor a plant in the ground. Some plants have one main large root called a taproot. Carrots are taproots. Other plants have a lot of smaller roots, like the roots in sunflowers. A plant's root system can be huge. Roots take in water and minerals from the soil through the epidermis. The epidermis is a thin outer layer of cells. There are tiny root hairs on the epidermis. These hairs help roots take in water. From the epidermis, nutrients move to the xylem. The xylem moves water and minerals to other parts of the plant, while phloem, another type of plant tissue, moves glucose through the plant. Roots store glucose, a type of sugar, in the form of starch. Carrots and radishes are roots that store food. Stems. Stems are the parts that support a plant. Stems can be short or tall, straight or curved, smooth or rough. They have xylem and phloem, which move water, minerals, and glucose between the roots and the leaves of a plant. Stems can be green and easy to bend, as in the case of herbaceous plants. Clovers, grass, and poppies are herbaceous plants. Stems can also be thick and strong, as in the case of woody plants. Trees, shrubs, and most vines are woody. Some stems, such as tubers, grow underground and store food that helps plants live when it is too cold or dry. A potato is a tuber. Leaves. Leaves make glucose, which plants use for energy. While making glucose, water and gases move in and out of the plant through a small hole in the epidermis of the leaf, called a stoma. Two guard cells open and close the stoma. Sunlight causes guard cells to take in water. The extra amount of water puts pressure on the walls of the guard cells, and the stoma opens. Most stomata, plural for stoma, open in the daytime and close at night. When a stoma opens, gases from the air enter the leaf and water exits the leaf. This loss of water is called transpiration. Wind, air, temperature, and the amount of water in the air and soil affect how much water is lost in transpiration. When water exits a leaf, more water moves in. This process is like drinking with a straw. It pulls up water through the xylem. If the water lost to transpiration is not gained through the plant's roots, the plant may wilt. How do plants get and use energy? Photosynthesis. What is so special about the color green? Leaves and other plant parts are green due to chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is a substance in chloroplasts. It helps plants make glucose. Glucose is a form of food. Animals cannot make their own food because their cells do not contain chlorophyll. Photosynthesis is the process in which plants make glucose. In photosynthesis, plants use carbon dioxide from the air, light energy from the sun, and water to form glucose and oxygen. Energy is stored in glucose. Plants and organisms that eat plants can use glucose as a source of energy. The equation below summarizes photosynthesis. Carbon dioxide and water, along with light energy and chlorophyll, makes glucose and oxygen. You can see in the equation that during photosynthesis, plants use carbon dioxide and release oxygen. Oxygen is very important as most organisms cannot live without it. Study the diagram to see the many adaptations of leaves. These adaptations enable plants to carry on the process of photosynthesis. Leaf structure. The top and bottom of the leaf have a layer of cells called the epidermis. This thin layer allows light to pass into the middle of the leaf. A waxy layer, called the cuticle, may cover a leaf and slow water loss. Photosynthesis takes place in the middle of the leaf. These tall, thin cells absorb sunlight that enters the leaf. These cells have chloroplasts that a plant needs to make glucose. Most leaves have more stomata on the lower epidermis. Less light reaches under the leaf, so the lower part is cooler and less water is lost through transpiration. The veins of a leaf contain its xylem and phloem. Water and minerals enter the leaf through the xylem. Sugar made by the leaf moves to the rest of the plant through the phloem. The air spaces surrounding cells in this part of the leaf allow the carbon dioxide that is needed for photosynthesis to move freely throughout the leaf. Energy from food. When the sun is shining, plants can make more glucose than they need. The extra glucose is converted into other sugars and starches. Plants store these sugars and starches. When they want to use the stored food, plants break down the food to release the energy it contains. All organisms break down food to release stored energy. The process by which cells break down food to release stored energy is called cellular respiration. Cellular respiration starts in the cytoplasm of the cells. In the cytoplasm, glucose is broken down into simpler substances. If a cell contains oxygen, the simpler substances move into the mitochondria of the cell. The mitochondria use oxygen to break down the simpler substances even more. In this process, carbon dioxide and water are produced. Energy is also released. The equation below summarizes cellular respiration. Glucose and oxygen makes carbon dioxide and water and energy. Carbon dioxide-oxygen cycle. Have you noticed that the equations for photosynthesis and cellular respiration look similar? Let's look at the equations again. Carbon dioxide and water, along with light energy and chlorophyll, makes glucose and oxygen. Glucose and oxygen makes carbon dioxide and water and energy. These equations are almost the reverse of each other. Both processes use the same materials. Together, they form a cycle. Photosynthesis and cellular respiration form the carbon dioxide-oxygen cycle. To better understand the carbon dioxide-oxygen cycle, think about this. Animals breathe oxygen from the air. Plants take in oxygen and carbon dioxide through their leaves. During respiration, animals and plants use oxygen. They use oxygen to change energy in their food to energy they can use. Plants use energy and carbon dioxide to produce more food and oxygen in the process of photosynthesis. The carbon dioxide-oxygen cycle makes sure that living things have enough oxygen and carbon dioxide. How do plants grow? Angiosperms. In a plant that produces seeds, the first step of growth occurs when a tiny seedling emerges from a seed. One type of seed plant, called an angiosperm, produces flowers. Angiosperms are common. Scientists have found between 200,000 and 300,000 species of angiosperms. Only insects have more species than angiosperms. Peach trees, tulips, grasses, daylilies, orchids, oak trees, grapes, tomatoes, and apple trees are all examples of angiosperms. All angiosperms are vascular plants. They have specialized tissues for moving materials around the plant. These tissues, xylem and phloem, were discussed earlier in this book. Most angiosperms have seeds that develop in fruits. Fruits protect the seeds until they are ready to grow. Humans depend on angiosperms in many ways. We use them as food crops and to make medicines. Lumber, rubber, perfumes, cork, and some fabrics are products made from angiosperms. Gymnosperms. Have you seen cones like the one in the picture? Plants that develop seeds in cones are called gymnosperms. Gymnosperms do not grow flowers. They can live for a long time. One type, the redwood, lives for thousands of years. The conifer is a common type of gymnosperm. Conifers are woody plants with needles or scale-like leaves. The Scotch pine in the picture is a conifer. Conifers have two types of cones, male and female. Female cones have egg cells. Male cones make pollen that contains sperm. Wind carries pollen from male cones to female cones. Then sperm fertilizes the egg cells. After fertilization, seeds grow in female cones. Female cones close up and do not open until seeds are mature. This process may take 2 years. When seeds mature, they are released and fall to the ground. Unlike angiosperms, seeds of gymnosperms are not found in fruits. Gymnosperms produce a lot of products that are used every day. They are good sources of wood and materials for paper products. They are also used in paints, air fresheners, disinfectants, and scents in soaps and cosmetics. Gymnosperm seeds are a source of food for animals. Germination and growth. Seeds contain a small plant embryo. The embryo can only grow so large within a seed. Then it must wait until conditions are suitable for germination. Germination is when a plant starts to grow from a seed. Different plants need different conditions to grow. All seeds need a certain temperature. Seeds that grow in colder regions may not germinate until spring or early summer. Seeds that grow in tropical rainforests need warm temperatures and a great deal of moisture. Seeds that germinate in colder, drier climates do not need as much warmth or moisture. When a seed coat opens, more oxygen reaches the cells of the embryo. The cells get larger. Then they divide and make new cells. If seeds get too much moisture, they may not get enough oxygen. If this occurs, growth will not take place and the seeds will rot. Some seeds may become inactive if conditions are not right. Seeds can remain inactive for long periods to protect the plant. Inactive seeds can survive conditions that would kill a plant. Examples of these types of conditions are droughts, freezing temperatures, and forest fires. When seeds germinate, roots grow downward and stems grow upward. New cells develop at the tips of roots and stems. Plants get bigger. Branches on a plant stem may grow from side buds. Some plants also grow wider. To assist with the development process, cells also divide to repair damaged tissue in the plant. Some plants do not grow from seeds. Plants can also grow from spores. Mosses and ferns produce spores. The table below shows how spores and seeds are different. Like seeds, spores can only become plants if the conditions are just right. Having plenty of water available is usually a good condition for a spore-producing plant. Spore contains a single cell that grows into a new plant. Does not contain stored food. Is usually very small. Seed contains a multicellular embryo that develops into a new plant. Contains stored food. Can vary in size. Responding to the environment. Why do roots grow down? Why do stems grow up? The reason is that plants respond to their environments. Plant behavior is hard to see, but it definitely exists. Have you ever seen plants that bend, droop, twist, or turn? This turning or bending movement is called tropism. Plants do not have nerves to control behaviors like animals. Instead, the chemicals that plants make cause different behaviors. For instance, chemicals can cause cells in different parts of the plant to grow at different rates. Cells on one side of a stem may grow very quickly. Cells on the opposite side may grow very slowly. This uneven growth causes the stem to bend. Stems usually bend toward light, which is called phototropism, while roots bend away from light. Some plants have a mechanical response called thigmotropism. A positive thigmotropism makes plants grow toward the surface it touches.